guys, I am Neil, or Majin Neil as everybody calls me, and we have here today Derek.
I'm Derek, or Derek, as everyone calls me.
All right, today we're going to be talking about upcoming changes for the year. Not necessarily, well, I'm not going to say changes. Upcoming information for the year for Z League.
Yeah,
I guess we'll give a quick recap for last year. So last year, everything in my thoughts on it, everything kind of went smooth. We had some sideways incidents with people accepting NZ, um, people not really wanting to use them, or people wanting to use them, and vice versa. We had a lot of people go, but we also had twice as many come in. So we've had a lot of different things. I do
a lot of
see,
growth. Yeah,
I do see where I can make changes this year to make tournament play. Oh, I messed with the computer. Tournament play a lot smoother for everyone, which we'll get to that later in the video. Um, uh, Derek with NZ, I just wanted to, I'm with Derek. He mentioned it earlier. He wants to thank everybody for
yeah.
enjoying NZ.
It's I understand. Like I kind of made that post yesterday, the January 1st or whatever, about that. I understand it was a little scary, kind of adding or even discussing adding it in. Part of why the league was started was to play score in the way that it was mostly intended to be played. But that happened for a couple of years, and uh, it's a game that was solved pretty much then, and is still pretty much solved now. And that can only really be as fun as it is at like a league setting for so long, without having to do something to update it. And there are a ton of card games that do fan updated sets now that do have continued player bases. And I just want to say again, like Neil said, thank you for letting us even try embracing it. And uh, that means a lot. This event seems to be going really, really well. The first one where it's actually legal. Uh,
Derek,
every
you,
time that drops, it's we do like a release day, but it's not necessarily this is the final text or whatever. James, who isn't here, but bless him for all that he does as well. Uh, James and I don't have eternity to just play test decks and stuff as we're developing them, so we understand that things do come up that were unexpected or unintentional, or just power levels that we didn't quite capture right. We've adjusted plenty of cards. We're open to doing that, but we're just happy that when cards drop, that guys are even willing to discuss it and look into them further. So thank you for that, and you know more to
before
come.
we move on, you'd mentioned that during this event, at some point, you're going to pass out a Google Drive survey. And
Yeah, when the event's done, I'm going to release like a Google form. It'll be anonymous, so you don't have to put your name on it or anything. But it's basically just going to ask like, what did you think of the event with NZ being legal? Anything that you think needed fixed? Anything that needs to be powered down or even powered up? Um, Things like that. And so, just to get some genuine feedback, it's easy to just discuss it, in chat or whatever, but there are some things that are reserved when you have your name associated with it. So if it's anonymous, I hope that we can just have like fully transparent feedback. Not going to hold anything against anyone if they're just like, this is trash, I hate it. Let us know. Like
yeah,
if that's really what people think, like then it is what it is. It doesn't have to be a thing. But um, I think just getting some good feedback after a month and a half long event will be a great way to really know what to do next with NZ.
yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I was thinking in the back of my mind was depending on how the feedback goes with these surveys. So I have 24 players left in the tournament. We had two drop. I expect 24 surveys done. I hope. If you don't want to fill it out, don't fill it out. But
Yeah,
like
you're not required. I'm
please,
not gonna beat
please,
you up.
please,
So
please, please give us your honest opinion. If you don't like me, if you don't like Derek, if you don't like James, if you don't like any of us, and you just like the game, at least fill it out for that sake, so we can continue to cater to the community.
yeah,
We're not on a high horse about being selfish. We are, dang it, if I hit this keyboard one more time, we are on the verge of making sure that the community, the NZ stays community. Uh,
Absolutely.
not,
Focus.
I'm sorry, focused, happy, whatever you want to call it. Uh, unlike other card games where it's like, here's the cards, this is what you have to deal with. This is more of, okay, these are the cards, they're subject to change. Break it please, so we can fix it. That's kind of what it boils down to. Depending on how everything goes back, I'm super surprised that with our first NZ tournament that we had such a big turnout and so many people. We had decks that had NZ, we had decks that had no NZ. Hell, I'm running a deck right now that's got one NZ card in this Sensei. So even though I'm like, hey, you should try these cards, I'm not even playing them. But that wasn't my reasoning behind them. I just wanted to see if me playing against NZ, is it going to change anything? Like, is it going to affect negatively, or is it going to be overpowered? And honestly, my deck's doing fine, even against NZ right now. And there's a lot of folks' decks that are doing fine against NZ. So hopefully it continues to go in that route and not just this, oh, well, we got a format. It's only NZ cards are going to be good. None of the score cards, all those are obsolete. That's not the reason, and that's what we hope to stay with. Next thing I guess we'll talk about is the schedule for the year. So moving forward, we're going to have a Google Drive calendar. And on that calendar, we're going to have dates of when we're going to do events and all that other good jazz so that nobody's in the dark. They can plan ahead for the month. They can go ahead and pre-build decks or whatever they have to do. For main events, we are going to be a lot more strict. Side events, not so much, because that's more or less practice anyway. But all main events from now on, moving forward, deck lists will be mandatory at the start. And will they be available to everyone? I haven't concluded that yet. I thought about only releasing it to top 8 players or top cut players. Everybody gets to see what everybody's playing at that point. That's what a lot of other card games do. But we aren't every other card game. We are our own thing. But I do like the idea of that. But either way, all of them will be submitted to a Google Drive. I won't look at them unless I'm going around or I'm having my judge go around to do a random deck check. So say you get done with your league game and me or a judge pops in there, hey, I've got your deck list here. Do you mind just doing a deck check with me? It's not to point the finger. It's to honestly just to keep tabs, or not in a bad way, but to ensure integrity, I guess you could say. There's a lot of people that always question it, and I don't think anybody here is doing anything wrong. It's more of, well, we are trying to be a little bit more official, so why not have official random deck checks? I'm hitting the stinking keyboard. And all it's doing is minimizing the board and stuff. But yeah, so random deck checks possibly. But the big, most important reason why I'm going to do the deck list, the reason that we all need, the deck lists are going to be saved permanently in a Google Drive archive for everyone to see. And what that means is if you say, okay, I'm not good at deck building, or I don't know anything, or I'm new to the game, you can come in there and check that out, and you can see all these decks that people are playing and what place they played in. We're going to do one-on-ones with the winner of each event, main event, moving forward, and allowing them to do a little, information deck tech with us or something, so that we can put that in the Google Drive next to their deck that they won. This is what their mindset was when they played that deck.
Yeah.
The next important thing, just like he was discussing with NZ and stuff, as far as events go, I'm going to be honest with everyone here. I'm not sure how we're going to do the Progression League still, just because of the fact that we haven't done a tough enough tournament in a while, have we? We really haven't. We really need to do one. We haven't done one in a while. So alternating every month, tough enough, not tough enough, tough enough, not tough enough. Or maybe switch it up to where it's not so stale, so to speak. The next big thing is going to, pricing changes. Sorry. Pricing changes. So we're going to move towards real cards and real DBZ score merchandise is becoming a lot more difficult to get and acquire for decent prices. And if I have a tournament of only 10 people and it's 15 ahead, that can only get so much, to be honest. So we're moving more towards, we're going to do our best to keep getting real DBZ stuff or score stuff, but first place will have kind of be where you're going to get that kind of stuff. So second and below is either going to be printed promos that we do, or whatever the case is. maybe some DBZ merch, the pops, or anything else DBZ related merchandise wise that we can come up with, whether we use like Dragon Shield's sleeve maker and make some sleeves, or a deck list, or excuse me, not a deck list, a deck box. I think some companies do deck boxes. I'm not sure. The
Mm-hmm.
other cool thing that a lot is really popular is play mats, which we could always go in that direction. But don't worry, there still will be pricing. It's just that when it comes to the real score stuff, I think we're gonna move that and to like the first place, winner and stuff like that. And as far as side events go, side events, the way they're gonna work, we're moving to twice a month. We're gonna stay on a strict schedule of every other Saturday, first Saturday and third Saturday of the month. 9 o'clock Eastern time. We're gonna meet in the lobby, and if you're there, I'll put you in the pairings, and then we're playing. That's also gonna include with ranking. We're gonna have a rank structure now. We called it PPR last year. We experimented with it. People liked it. In fact, people were hounding me saying, "Hey, where is this? What's happening? Why are we not moving on with it?" So I'm gonna stay on top of it a lot better this time. We're gonna start fresh in this next tournament with PPR, and side events will also award PPR. I will have more details on how it's going to work, whether you can lose PPR, gain PPR, use it to do things, and that sort of thing, so that you can become, the number one player in the league if you want to strive to shoot for that, or if you want to get ranked, or become a pro, player, or whatever the case is in our eyes. That's going to be one of the biggest things. But with the changes to pricing, entry fees are going to change too. We're going to reduce them. I think we're going to do main events. We're still working the books on it, but we think we're going to do main events is $10 a head. And side events are going to be anywhere from $0 to $3 due to the fact of if we have any leftover promos. That's what the side events are going to be. So whether, for example, this month's promos are going to be the Super Saiyan 3, the Roshi, and the Fatherly Advice. If I have any extra, I'll throw it up for grabs in side events for folks that didn't get it, or if they want another one and they want to try to win it, or whatever the case is, that's what it'll be for. $3 is honestly going to be there to either cover the order that we made for it to make sure it got fully paid for, or just stamps. But if I have a crap ton of stamps and the order's already paid for, I won't be charging entry fee for that tournament. It'll just be free and everything. Derek, what is our goal, I guess, for NZ status and plans for 23? What are we doing?
So, NZ, is still something that is, we just literally just dropped 3, but we're always looking forward to like what our future plans are. After this event finishes and we kind of gather the feedback we want to get about NZ as far as this one event goes, we'll take those plans and assuming, I guess, fingers crossed that the answer is people liked it and it becomes people are fine with it being legal. It'll shift to being generally legal, unless, of course, we name it differently. Obviously, with each event, we'll announce what the format is, like we always do. But just like instead of it being, oh, this is uniquely NZ now, it'll be that is just something that's a part of the game. Maybe. I mean, maybe the answer is that you guys don't want that truly, and if that's the case, then so be it. We'll work. We'll work with what we're doing now. But if we decide that it didn't really affect the game too much and we want to keep it in, that is obviously our end goal. That it is. But moving forward, James and I would like to plan on 2 sets a year, typically June-ish and then like Christmas-ish, like we did with this one, just to keep things like lively.
Excuse me.
What we want to do is like a small set and a big set. And it doesn't necessarily have to be 25 cards and 50 cards like these ones were. The first set was 25, second was 25, third was 50. But that was just because the sets were like lining up nice to do so. Maybe it's that a small set is 20 cards or 40 cards, who knows? But essentially our goal is we do kind of our June release will be more of the same, but just sort of like new cards, but kind of keeping the same thing going. The Christmas released set will be more of where we'd introduce like our bigger concepts, a new character, new keyword, or like that sort of thing, like we did with this one.
And you guys have mentioned in the past a while back. I don't remember when, but at some point, if my question for you then is, would it be possible to, instead of having 2 sets a year, having one large set, and the set before it during June, not necessarily being a set, but maybe a preview, kind of like how Kid Boot previews and Fusion previews and so forth for the old score, have a preview set instead of an actual set. Is
Yeah,
that a
and
possibility?
absolutely. And like it doesn't, and again, none of it's like strictly set in stone. We're just trying to keep like a general plan on every 6 months, some kind of card coming out or something. That's like our goal in our head. But maybe it's that like in in 3 months we'll do a 15 card like Fusion Reborn subset, like you would have pulled out of the Boo Saga packs or whatever, like with the Broly subset cards, maybe something like that. And we do two of those in a year or so. Who knows? It's just like a general thing so far. But yeah, it could be anything. I mean, we're not opposed to the idea of making part of the count of an NZ set be like just reprints, even. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we could do with it. The idea, though, is mainly that's on paper right now is to roughly expect we're going to try to do two a year, to not flood it every 3 months or whatever, so that it's just like overtaking the game. But we also don't want you to just like get some cards and then never hear about it again. We want you to know we're always working on something, and we're always, even when James and I are like not actively working on an NZ set, him and I are constantly talking about some card idea, something to do next. So there's plenty of stuff there, and I think one of the things that we kind of announced when NZ first started that we haven't talked about a lot since, but once NZ is like hopefully a legal thing within events, I am very open to and excited for the idea of letting someone who wins come up with like helping discuss what they would like a next card to be. Not necessarily just like give us a card and this will be the text, because obviously some things are just not going to be able to be printed. Neil, you, but
Well, thanks. I
give
appreciate
us your
it.
idea. I would really like a Goku name card that kind of does this. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We'll work that into like what feels balanced, and then show it to you, release it. You can pick an art or whatever. I think that'd be really fun and is a great way to put things out that does reward players for playing and pursuing NZ based events.
So what you're saying is the possibility of, hey, if I win a tournament, you'll let me create a card within reason, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
of course.
All right, and to backtrack just a little bit, but not too much, kind of go back to being stricter with main events and stuff. I've noticed since we are mixing NZ and there are some GT previews that are being used, like the Oops Energy Drill and whatnot. Sleeves. Let's talk about sleeves for just briefly. They need to be as dark as possible. Don't care if they got art, but these bright red sleeves that I've seen, and you can see a little bit through them. I can still see the dragon from the DBZ, or I can see the NZ from the Boost Furies promos. Exactly. These right here are no goes from now on. Period. They will not be allowed at all. They must. We're not doing that. They have to be as dark as possible. But I like yellow. Okay, cool. When you go play in a real tournament anywhere else, a judge tells you your sleeves are not acceptable. Guess what? They're not acceptable. And this being an older game and we are playing for prizing and stuff like that, we follow rules. So that's how we're going to do it. So if you have any questions, you can always just post a picture. Hey, are my sleeves okay? You can send it to me, you can send it to Derek, you can send it to Nick or James or anybody. Say, hey, do you think my sleeves? And if I see just a hint of anything on the back of the card, I'm going to tell you no, man. Or a girl, or a gal, or however you identify, or Apache helicopter, whatever. But my point is we need to be a little bit stricter on those, due to the fact that I'm not saying anybody's doing it, because I don't think we have any of that in our group at all. But we don't want any questions rose up, and we don't want no assumptions or people accusing somebody. Somebody could be really bad because they lost and be like, oh well, he played yellow sleeves, he's seen all his cards. So I mean, I don't want that bridge to be crossed at all. So yeah,
Yeah.
sleeves must be dark as possible. Solid black, whatever, dark blue, whatever,
Dragon
must
Shield
be dark.
just
Huh?
Dragon Shield just put out all their dual mats too, where they're black on the inside and then
Yeah,
colored
and
on the top.
yep,
And
and
those are super,
the
super
lightning
dark.
ones that have the black and the yellow, you
Yep,
can't see anything. They're really
yep.
good.
Yeah, I've got
So
I've got the snows that are white on one side even, and they're black on the inside, and they're great.
it
But
boils down to.
combat this,
Go ahead.
um, to combat this, as you saw from the proxies, We have switched to more generic, just
Here you go. I've
black.
got one right here. I've got one right
Yeah.
here for you too, as well.
Before we were trying to stick with like the same white border and then like the NZ logo, but it is very bright. The contrast on this is huge, and through the right color sleeve, you really can see it. So we have switched to just kind of like the black back. I know that's a lot less exciting, but we play with our cards sleeved anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, what does the back of the card matter? But if you have a black backed card in your sleeves, you're not going to tell nearly, even if your sleeves are maybe too light or something, you're not going to tell what that is, as opposed to a card with like a bright white thing glowing through the back of it.
Well, that boils down to how we're gonna do. Yeah, that's how we're gonna I guess move forward and deal with the sleeve issue and whatnot. Now that being said, if you John had mentioned it, he wants a full deck printed and have the NZ logo on the back. That's fine. You can do that because every card will be the same on the back. But still, make sure your sleeves can't be seen on the back. My recommendation is if you like those yellow sleeves like he showed up, they do make these nice smoke black or gray backs perfect fits. I wrote them, so you can't see mine. This is a perfect fit.
Yep.
And then it goes into the sleeve, and then you can't see it. It's gone. So that's my other suggestion for you. But it's a card game. It's a hobby. We all know this. If you're coming to play, then you need to abide by rules when it comes to tournaments. Casual play, hey, do what you want. You want to do no sleeves, whatever. But that's been a real pet peeve of mine last year, and I'd like to get it fixed this year. Moving forward, what was the next thing that we wanted to talk about, Derek?
Well, are we traveling this year?
No, sir. Actually, this year we're going to be doing Worlds a little bit differently, but
how differently?
I think we're going to like it. So it is going to be webcam based. There's only going to be 8 participants. So the way we're going to do it this year is at the first place winner of 6 main events and 2 side events will receive an invitation, and that invitation will actually be a playmat, and it'll say Worlds 2023, and it will have 1 of 8, 2 of 8, 3 of 8, whichever playmat that we are giving out. So, for example, the next tournament we have, first place will get the 1 of 8. What does the image say? It'll have your name on it, the winner, and whatever image that we come up with for that month. You'll receive that. That'll be your invitation. Once we have all 8 given out, which I'll have a date for Worlds before that even happens. It's not going to be like one of those situations to where, okay, the 8 one's given out, you got 2 weeks to play it. No, we're going to put out a date so that everybody is tracking and knows and how it's going to work. How is it going to work? Well, it's going to be played all in one weekend. Worlds is literally going to be played like a top 8 format all in one weekend. Is it going to be single elimination? Is it going to be Swiss? How are we doing it? I'm not 100% certain. We may do double elimination just to make it interesting. I'm not sure yet, but those details will be put out within the next 1 to 2 months. I'll have it all worked out and put out. Just need some time to discuss it with my judge, discuss with Derek, and get some feedback from the community as well. So if you have any ideas and you want to drop them in there, shoot me a message or drop it in Discord, whatever you want to do. The biggest thing to take into it is going to be commandeering. Commentary. Excuse me. Derek and I are going to be commentating every single match. So every match, everyone will get to watch, sure, but you're not going to be allowed in that room, the Discord room. You're going to have to watch it through the YouTube or Twitch or whatever live stream that we have. It's just going to be a fun little way to do it so that we are not interrupted while commentating. The only person that's going to be allowed in there is the judge, if there is a judge available for it. I would like to expand our judges to more than just 2, because it's a lot of weight on Nick, even though Nick actually does a wonderful job and he weighs more on it. James pops in when he wants, but we all know he has a true love for making cards, so he leans more in that direction, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's his passion, and I have no heart for that, or no hate on that, excuse me. I'm all for it. The biggest thing that we're going to move forward with is, like I said, there's going to be 8 playmats given out. Those are your invitations. The game will be the tournament will be played over a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, or Saturday, Sunday. However we get it done is what we're gonna do to get it done.
Yeah.
We'll have a schedule set, being like, okay, we're gonna take a lunch, we're gonna come back at this time, and so forth. I'll have all that worked out. Give me like 1 to 2 months to actually give the grit details, but that's what's gonna happen. We're looking in the November to October time frame for that to give you guys a little rough estimate.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a time for 6 main events at 6 or so weeks a time, and
yep.
that already puts us in like September. So putting it out in October, November does schedule it out for um, a good time for there to be enough events to get the invites out, plus you to have time to get ready for a world's event for the the 8 players.
Right.
Now, question that I'm sure is already being typed into keyboards is what if someone wins an event and won the last event? Well, of
So
course.
So I've seen it. I've seen other tournaments do it several ways. I'm fond of passing it down to second place, and if
Mhm.
first and second have it, I've seen in, for example, Flesh and Blood that it just gets moved to the next tournament to where they would give out two. This one, I honestly just want to pass it down until someone doesn't have one because
Yep.
you've earned that spot. You've worked to get in that spot. So if for some reason first place is prize, I don't know. This time it's a Victrio, right? Okay, let's just say you're invited up for grabs for next tournament, but um, let's say I don't know, AD wins, but he already won last month and he has an invitation. The next guy down, he only played just because he wanted to win the you're invited. So the next guy below him, let's say Derek got second. Derek's going to get the invitation, but Derek already announced that he's not going to be playing a world, so he's going to pass it down to the next person. Am I wrong?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we don't want to like that's the thing is we don't want to reward someone who consistently does well and wants to play for especially if the idea is that we have real card pricing or whatever for like a single placing within the event and someone wants to try to grind out games for that to
We
not
don't want to discourage that at all.
we don't
We
want to
don't.
discourage that. Like by
Nope.
all means, play your heart out.
Mm-hmm.
And don't feel like I already have an invite. I can't get in someone else's way.
Right, right.
That's
You're
not the
not going to
thing.
be in anyone's way
Yeah,
at all. Please get your games in and enjoy it. That's the
please
purpose
continue to
behind
kick
it.
ass. Do whatever you want to do.
Hell yeah, you want to take
Yeah.
kick ass, take names, chew bubble gum, whatever you do. Um, I guess the last thing on the agenda to talk about is we have a surprise for everybody. We have
Well, it's not really a surprise. You're going to already be watching this there.
yeah,
But
a YouTube
this
channel.
channel, the league wants to have we want to have like a dedicated league YouTube channel.
That's correct.
Zach has been doing a great job posting his own games to his channel.
Right.
Jamie and Chuck for years have been playing their own games, and so there is score footage online, but just somewhere that is dedicated to like
us.
specifically this league. We want that to be a thing. So as you can see,
So
from
the channel
video,
you're watching right now.
Yeah,
This
like
is
and subscribe,
like and
do the whole thing,
subscribe,
click the
all that other
button.
bullshit. Yeah.
Wait, noise, whatever. But really, though, we want there to be content here. So
Yes.
Neil mentioned it a little bit earlier that one of the ideas that we have is after an event's done to sit down with whoever got first and let them do like a deck tech of their deck, like a one-on-one kind of discussion where they just talk about what they played and why. You see that in all kinds of games, and there's plenty of opportunity for that. Another option too is deck sort of discussion after an event's done. Neil and I, or even like someone else who it can be like a guest commentator or something too, can be on a video.
Yep.
And we just sort of discuss like these are the decks that got top 8.
Yep.
It's cool to see that like 4 black decks got top 8 this time. Like that hasn't happened in a while. Maybe that's gonna happen with this current event. Who knows? But just like that kind of like breakdown and discussion, with the idea of trying to make this thing a little more official. That is a thing that like.
I mean, we've been running for 2 years. Why not, right?
Yeah, one like living games kind of have all this kind of footage, and if NZ is going to be coming out, then this is a living as much as living is.
I mean,
so
yeah.
why not keep up with that? Another idea that I would like to have is like deck profiles within the YouTube channel, but not necessarily just like, hey, I'm playing this random Bardock deck, whatever, right now, and you should only watch videos that I made. I'm not the best deck builder here by any means. I'm not the source of who you should listen to necessarily for throwing a deck together, but I like the idea of that we could do like introductory decks. Like this is if you wanted like a decent getting started, I want to play blue. Here's a pre-constructed starter deck for blue, and it's not necessarily competitive per se, but this is like just a getting a custom. Then we can even have inside the video in the description a link to a Google sheet where you could print the deck and play it. We could also do deck profiles for very popular decks. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we could do a red boo deck where like, okay, so this is the deck that got first. We're going to kind of break down each card in it and go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the link to just print it off for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Deck and sell, whatever,
Right.
whatever it is. Just
Well,
content like
to piggyback on what you're saying, if you guys that are watching have a video and it's good edited or whatever the case is, and you want to submit it and send it to us, and you want us to post it up on the DBZ League or the Z League YouTube, and you want it on there, yeah, send it. We'll review it. We'll watch it. If we got to edit anything, sure. But if it's doable, we'll say, yeah, we'll do it. But if it's not, I'll give you an answer why, or somebody will give you an answer why and say,
yeah,
hey, you can't, too much profanity, or your reasoning behind this is not, valid, or whatever the case is, or it's not going to be a shot at you or anything. It's more of this is the content we're shooting after. It's how we're going to do it. So for a little while, we're going to be sticking with mainly the winners of each tournament. And if someone presents a good video of like, okay, this is a good beginner deck for someone that's new to the game, and you have a good setup and you have a good breakdown of it, and we watch it and we like it, then I'm going to post it up on the YouTube channel.
yep,
And then you guys can watch it and give out the information and everything. But the idea of this is to keep information flowing through the channel and through the league for us to keep going and giving each other advice. And because like you've got some folks that in other card games, I've got secret sauce, I don't want to share it with nobody. Well, the game's already solved. Well, this game NZ is not solved yet, so let's solve it. Let's get it busted.
right.
But
And
go ahead.
I don't want to like. I'm the idea of the channel too is never to discourage someone from like posting your own content. Like, obviously, more score based content on the internet is good. The idea of this is to get more things archived, like with getting deck lists saved for the future, and to have YouTube videos of the same thing saved is going to be a very positive thing. Zach, like I mentioned, makes a ton of his own content, and it's great. He will
James
also
Hill
be,
also has some content.
yep. Zach will be a part of this sort of channel hub here as well, just kind of providing his own content as he's already kind of doing for himself. Of course, expect him to still promote things on his own channel.
Mm-hmm.
That's his thing. That's what he's doing. But I'm sure you'll see his face in this channel as well, or at least his hands on a deck. I mean, that's basically it as far as the YouTube channel goes. Just kind of keep your eyes peeled here. Do subscribe.
Yes,
we'll
we're gonna try to do. Like we're saying, maybe like a monthly or a bi-monthly recap video of what we saw or what's been going on. And like he said, we're gonna be doing one-on-one texts as well. So, yeah, like
Yep.
he said, like and subscribe, check out the channel, and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Let's get this community to grow a lot more than what it has.
Yeah, I think last year was a huge like. I mean, I've only been here a year, a little over, well, about a year, but it grew all year long, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there's still a ton of room for growth and a ton of positive change to make in 2023.
I started this league 2 years ago with 3 people, 3 guys. It was myself, a fella by the name of Stephen Foster, and another fella named Jared. And Jared, he had life and stuff like that, but he was a very talented player. He played a lot of control, freestyle Goku, whether it was allies with Spirit Bomb or you're never going to deal me any damage deck or whatever. But either way, it was a really cool experience starting out. And then we did our first freestyle tournament. I'll never forget that. Andrew won that tournament, got the t-shirt. We did a t-shirt for it. That's another thing for prizing. We're probably going to try and get some actual like apparel and hats and things made. It's very possible through companies. So
I could use that.
yeah, let's do it. It's very possible with these companies, and if we, like I said, if I'm collecting entry fees for it. Last thing before I let you go, We were talking about a few days ago about a internet database for deck building and archives and stuff like that. I have been talking to an individual. I'm trying to get more information about how it's going to work. But worst case scenario, we just hire somebody on Fiverr and get it done. But let's just see what the future holds for this year. So please stay with us and please enjoy the games and enjoy the NZ content and enjoy the DBZ card game as a whole. And this
Yeah.
community is very welcoming. So if you ever have any questions, we have a lot of people that are just jumping balls deep to want to help. That's all they want to do. So let them help. But other than that, I'm signing out. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Adios.
Oh, let's do this right. Let's do this right. Let's have a bloopers because I did the little mat. I fucked it up. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye, everybody.